Yes, hello again, my beautiful peeps. Jamaican youth in the building again with another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about the just concluded match between Jamaica and Guatemala. Yes, the friendly international, Jamaica versus Guatemala. Some would say a Jamaica B or a Jamaica C team versus a Guatemala team that was slightly depleted as well. Not necessarily their first string team, but a good instructive game nonetheless. A lot to kind of, I wouldn't say a lot, but at least a little bit to dissect from the game and to kind of talk a little bit about what did the game mean, if it really meant anything. Of course, it was a friendly international, so there were no points on the line. It's really just bragging rights you're playing for. And we know that both teams weren't feeling their strongest team. Jamaica has a match against Canada in a week's time against for the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinal game. And, that will be two legs. As some of you probably know, that game will really decide if Jamaica moves on to the semifinals of the Nations League and ultimately qualify for the Copa America, or if we'll have to go into the playoff rounds or the play-in round to get into the Copa America. Anyway, that will be next week. Today we want to talk about the game between Jamaica and Guatemala. Before I get into it, if you could just hit the like button if you haven't done so, it helps to send the video out to more eyes. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, as your subscription helps to make the channel grow. We're trying to grow the channel here, so please do that and help us grow this channel. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. Jamaica versus Guatemala, Harrison, New Jersey, in the Redbull Arena, the ground where New York Red Bulls play. The game ended in a 0-0 stalemate. It was a 0-0 stalemate, no goals in the game. Nothing really in it. And both teams, they played like they were just playing a friendly. They weren't really trying to go too hard to get points or anything like that. And again, the strongest teams were not feeling. But there are some important things to take from this. Outside of the 0-0 draw, even though there was a 0-0 draw, we saw Coach Hallgrimson employ, well, before we get into that, let's just look at the starting lineup for Jamaica. The starting lineup Jamaica used, they used Jamali Waite in goal, and for the defenders you saw John Bell, Jamoy Topi, Richard King, and Javane Brown. And then in midfield you saw Devon Williams, Ramon Howell, and Tyreek Magee. On the wings you saw Deshane Beckford and Demario Phillips. Deshane Beckford, I think, on the left, and Demario Phillips on the right. And I think at one point Deshane Beckford even switched the wing that he was playing on. And then up front you had Romario Williams. And that was the starting team. The coach subsequently made some changes and brought in Kyle Ming, brought in Malik Foster at one point, and even brought in Shaniel Thomas, which is the striker from Cavaliers that have been playing so well in the current Caribbean Cup that's going on. And we want to talk about that in a second. So that's the starting lineup. The interesting thing we saw is that this coach employed a 4-2-3-1 formation. I don't remember if I've ever seen him employ a formation like that before. This was kind of the first time I saw him do anything, to my memory, that resembles anything outside of a 4-4-2. He seems to typically play a 4-4-2 formation, but he played a 4-2-3-1 formation. And maybe it was an experimentation to see how we handle that formation. I think for the most part, Jamaica played decent. I mean, they weren't spectacular, but they weren't terrible either. But also, Guatemala wasn't all that great. So that was one of the first things that I noticed, the difference in the formation that he tried as opposed to a 4-4-2. We always say a 4-4-2. So this is good that he's experimenting with something more. This kind of seems more tactical to me than anything. And I think this was a game for Tyreek Magee. This was kind of set up for Tyreek Magee because notice he's playing the two the two defensive midfielders behind Tyreek Magee with Speedy Williams and Ramon Howell, and having Tyreek Magee kind of having somewhat of a freedom to play an attacking midfield role, and even giving him those wingers with Beckford and Phillips. I think the coach really wanted to have a look at what Tyreek Magee is capable of, because there's been a lot of chatter on the vlogosphere, the vlog spaces, and the Reggae Boys fandom in general about Tyreek Magee, because the truth of the matter is there is a need for an attacking midfielder on Jamaica's team. So even I myself was looking to see, well, what is it that Tyreek Magee is going to do in this game? And so the jury's out as to whether you think he passed the test, he did well or not. I will give my thoughts on him and how he played in a second, but I think that was kind of what it was set up for. So you saw a stalemate. It was 0-0. Not many chances were created for both teams, either Jamaica or Guatemala. We saw one time where Jamaica got in front of the goal and somebody just needed to poke the ball in the back of the net because it was a free kick that was taken. The keeper didn't handle the ball very well. He spilled it and it fell at the feet of one of our players and tried to kick to goal. Didn't get in. Tyreek Magee got it. He kicked it. It wasn't a very firm kick. He still didn't get in. Someone could have or should have scored it there, but it didn't get in the back of the net. But not many chances created in general. Both teams were kind of trying to figure things out, how to play against the other team or how to settle down against the other team. I think Guatemala didn't give Jamaica a lot of time on the ball at all. They high pressed us, or they pressed us in general, which is sometimes, I think, I think when it comes on to Central American opponents, we have kind of turned the corner, at least with this coach, in terms of knowing how to handle them. I think so far almost all the Central American opponents we have faced, whether it's Honduras, Guatemala, or El Salvador, we tend to be able to handle them okay. And that is kind of why I wanted us to get Costa Rica for the Nations League, because I think we're doing better in terms of handling Central American opponents, and that never used to be the case. We want to see if a better playing Central American opponent like Costa Rica and even ultimately Panama, how we stack up against those type of teams, because they're stronger Central American teams. But I think we have at least been able to handle, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. So not many chances created. We did see a lot of possession from Guatemala in the first half. I think they kind of dominated possession of the ball in that half. And then in the second half, things kind of changed a little bit. I think Jamaica settled down a little bit more in the second half and played better. The first half, I think Guatemala was the more settled team. And so we didn't concede a goal, which is good. And we didn't, but we also never scored a goal. So we didn't really get to see if there are many attacking options out of the teams that, out of the players that were on the field. Standouts for me would include Deshane Beckford and John Bell. I think those two players are the standouts for me. I wasn't really looking for much from a Javian Brown or even a Jamali Wade, because they're already members of the A team, if you want to call it that. But I was kind of more paying attention to the new players. And I did see Beckford. He looks lively on the wing, like he wants to. He has a very good attacking intent. But obviously the international game is much harder than the level he's playing at. But he looks good. He looked good. Unfortunately, it seems like he's a winger. I don't know that he will be able to break into the team for Canada. You know, but he looked lively. John Bell, playing left back, funny enough, kind of reminded me of Amari Bell. Like, he looked very attack minded. Wasn't afraid to beat one or two players down the wing, and almost sometimes when he got down in Guatemala's half and looking for someone to pass the ball to or to square the ball over to, there was nobody there. So he seems very attack minded. I think John Bell, is a good, if in the event that an Amari Bell is not available, because I think Amari Bell is still, injured. I think he is a good wing back that you can keep in your back pocket. Maybe even bring him as the second wing back to be backup to Greg Lee. I like how he looks, to be honest. And I mean, I noticed the coach pulled him at halftime. I don't know what was the reasoning behind that. Maybe he was like, okay, I've seen enough of him. I like how you're playing. Let me pull you and look at another player. I don't know if that was the case, but he definitely looked good to me. Deshane Beckford and John Bell are the two standout players as far as I'm concerned. Some other honorable mentions I would say is Jamoy Topi and Richard King. I think they were good in defense. I didn't see too many mistakes from them. I didn't see too many mishaps from what they were doing. They looked good. And even at one point, Topi was on the end of a ball that was coming over that had a Guatemalan right behind him, and he made a very timely header to head the ball away. So he was good. King was good. King looked very calm and composed on the ball in defense. I like how he looked. And in general, I think the defensive unit was good between the two of them. And then Demario Phillips, very energetic as usual. He's going to give you a lot of tackles and runs and all of that. So Demario Phillips looked decent. Those are honorable mentions I would say. But I think for me, Deshane Beckford and John Bell would be the two standout players for me. Then my other thing is Tyreek Magee. Now we can get to Tyreek Magee. I have to be honest, and my opinion on Tyreek Magee is probably going to be different from a lot of people. Tyreek Magee is that type of polarizing figure where some people feel one way about him and others feel a different way about him. I haven't really made up my mind against him because most of the matches that I've seen of Tyreek Magee has been schoolboy football when he played for JC, and then recently when he started playing for the Colorado Switchbacks. No, I'm saying that in terms of matches away from the national team. I've obviously seen him play for Jamaica, but in terms of club football, those are, JC and Colorado Switchbacks. But tonight, I didn't think Magee was all that special at all. I'm sorry. I know that this opinion is probably not going to be the most popular because a lot of people love Tyreek Magee, but he never looked all that special to me. The problem I have with Tyreek Magee, he doesn't work hard enough on the field for me. He doesn't work hard enough. And I don't mean that in a negative way towards him, because I really want this player to be good because he seems like a very skillful player, and Jamaica needs a player like him on at least for a senior team. But he doesn't work very hard at all, and it bothers me a lot about him. In other words, him not have that dog day in him. I don't know no other way for put it. Him not have that dog there, like him a go, you see me, him a go come for the ball, him a go off for the ball like, yo, and my ball is him a go put him body on the line, him have the hunger and desire there for get the ball and for do something with it. Him not give me that vibe though when him play. You know what I mean? Tyreek Magee just kind of seem like a ball away. Him want the ball played right time foot, and you know what I mean, it make a lot of fancy touches. Like whenever him get the ball, him try from for look pretty when him pass the ball. And it's like almost like him kind of a little bit more focused on looking pretty than being effective, if that makes sense. Is it me? I don't mind if you look pretty, but as long as you're effective with it. You know what I mean? I don't want you look like you're making a fancy turn and this and that if it's not advancing the ball towards goal. If you're an attacking midfielder and you plot over the ball and you bust a man salad, but the ball, the process while doing that, it not help you win, is like, okay, nice to look at and cheer at, but it's not really helping us to win. And, Tyreek Magee, for me, as I was saying, this game was set up for him. I think most of the fans really wanted to see what he can do because of all the players on the field, I think he had the best chance of possibly breaking into the national team, the senior national team, the team that's going to play against Canada. I don't think he did himself any favors, at least not as far as I am concerned. I'm not the coach. Hogrims might see something different, but I just didn't see anything from him that would change me into, pushing him into to the upper echelons of the Jamaica football. Like, you need to work harder. I want more aggressiveness out of you. You're not aggressive enough to me. You kind of give me this, you're like a luxury player type. You know what I mean? Where the ball of the foot and the feel of a setup are, in a particular way for suit how you play, as opposed to a ball I would say, yo, I'm going to come in with that dog mentality there. I'm in a business, what formation we play, or, how the game I go. Me, I go be the influential baller. Me, I go come change the game. Me, I go be the baller away. When we're flat, me, I go lift way. Because that is what inspirational midfielders do. And that is what people kind of, look at Magee as. They look at him as an inspirational midfielder, but he hasn't really been that. And I personally was looking at this game for say if he was going to be that player. And again, I don't want people to believe say, yo, I have nothing against him because me actually I root for him, but that's I call it like how I see it. I never see that in him, and I wish him could have stepped that up. So for me, I don't really think say, obviously I wouldn't say he had a horrible game though. I wouldn't say that he was horrible today, but I think I would need more out of him before I would elevate him to being the next Reggae Boys or to the A team, if you want to call it A team. I would have to see more out of him. I would have to see more aggression out of him. I don't like the passivity, the passiveness from Tyreek Magee. I need more aggression, like more hunger, more desire, like you want it. Not this play like, just play the ball to me the right way or mail gear something. No. Go make a change even when the thing now go the way where you want it to go. That is what we need to say. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Tyreek Magee and how he played. Then just a few other things. I would have loved to see Shaniel Thomas on the field a little bit more. The striker from Cavaliers who, he's having such a good season in the Caribbean Premier Cup or the Caribbean Cup. I think that, I would have loved to see him get at least even a half an hour on the field or even a whole half, on the field. I thought he would have started, but I think maybe based on the formation that the coach was going for or what he had in mind, maybe he wasn't really. And, again, I have to maybe accept that what this coach is looking for, Shaniel Thomas wouldn't be. So even, let's say, for example, he started Shaniel Thomas and Shaniel Thomas even scored a hat-trick. Would Shaniel Thomas really make it to the upper echelons? I don't think so. I mean, who is he going to replace? It's not going to be Mikel Antonio. It's not going to be, Shamar Nicholson. So he's not really in a position to break into the major team, the big team, right now. Tyreek Magee has an opportunity to break. He's the only player, I think, has an opportunity to break into the squad. But I've already given my thoughts on him. But yes, I would have loved to see Chanel Thomas a little bit more, even 30 minutes. I would have been happy with that. And then finally, overall, I would have to say I didn't really see anyone that could break into the team to play against Canada. I can't say I saw any spectacular play outside of the players who are already there, the Javane Browns, Romario Williams, and Jamali Wade. I didn't see any player that I can say, yeah, they put up their hands and say, yes, I need to be in the other team. No, again, Hallgrimson might be seeing something different. He might be looking for something different. He might very well put Magee in the team because, and I don't mean to harp on Magee, but he is the player. He is the only player that the position he plays is a position that we are in need of in the big team. But can he break into the team over Daniel Johnson? Can he break into the team over Casey Palmer? I just don't know. I don't see that. I think Tyreek Magee, if he wasn't outstanding against a weakened Guatemala team that we're better than in general. So playing against Canada, how is he going to handle that? I don't know. So yeah, that's essentially my assessment for it. A stalemate. Glad we didn't lose. I wasn't really looking so much at the result, even though I would have loved. Obviously, when you watch Jamaica play, you want them to score and win the game. But I'm not really too perturbed about the 0-0 stalemate. To be honest with you, I was kind of wondering what was the purpose of the game. What was the real reasoning behind it? Why did we have a friendly? Because this friendly to do, we're going to choose players to do what? Maybe it's to build a second string team to keep in practice so that those players can get maybe the coach wants to just look at other players to say, give everybody an opportunity to stake the claim for a team. And when he has looked at all the players now, he can then assess and say, okay, we know for sure that we have the best players. But I think right now, the team that he has in the 18, yeah, I think that's the closest thing to the best players we have right now. But I do think that this Jamaican team tonight did give a good account of themselves. There were some periods of time when the ball was being, we possessed the ball well. We tried to put together a few passes and made some attacks. I can't remember any clear-cut opportunity except for when the ball fell, the goalkeeper spilled it and it fell in front of us and we should have just poked it into the goal. But outside of that, I think a draw was a fair result. I don't think Jamaica outplayed Guatemala, and Guatemala did not play Jamaica. So I think it was a fair result, a 0-0 result, and Jamaica gets to keep not lose to Guatemala and also keep a clean sheet against them, which is good, especially playing with a relatively weakened team. All right, so I'm going to leave it there, everyone. That's my assessment of the game tonight. And on your way out, please hit the like button. If you haven't done so, it helps to push the video out to more eyes. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. And until next time, take care of yourself. I'm out.